All right, so we got a 2013 Silverado. The seat motor has gone out. What we're going to go ahead and do is take this seat out. In order to take it out, some of the tools you're going to need: 11 millimeter socket. You're going to need a 15 millimeter socket, a T47 Torx bit. See that camera? Then you're also going to need a 7 millimeter socket. And you're going to need this flat head. That's going to go ahead and remove these covers with this flat head. So you have a cover here, you have a cover here that you're going to need to take out. The next step, you have some other covers up here in the front you have to take out. We'll walk around the back here. You want to have another cover right here, another cover right here, and you can see that's another bolt right there. Just go ahead and disconnect our airbags, and you have another connector in here. I don't know if you can see it or not. That's your harness for your seat motor. Once you have those disconnected, what you're going to want to do is go back around here. You have this knob right here. You're going to want to pull that off. This just pulls off. You got to kind of give it some force. You can see that just pulls right out. Next thing you have is a switch. Maybe easier, just get your flat head and kind of shimmy it on either side to pop it off. It just comes right off. The next thing is a little more difficult. You have this lever right here. And in order to take it off, I'm going to try and show this to you. There is a pin that holds it in up top. What we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get that off, and I'll take it off and show you how it works. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's the little pin, and you just kind of got to get a flat head in there and pop that pin out. This lever should come right out. So here's the lever, this off, and here's the little pin that holds it in. This pin, it just sits on top of this lever. Let me set the phone down and I'll get that on for you. So it just clips in there. And when you reinsert this, that clip is what holds this lever in. So once we have those off, this panel right here, it just pops off. We'll go ahead and get that off and show you what's underneath. So once we have that lever handle off, next thing you're going to want to do, there's a screw here. So 7 millimeter, and we'll go ahead and take that off, and we'll get this panel off, and I'll show you what's underneath here. So once this panel's off, as you can see, you have a few wiring harnesses right here. Just have a clip in them that will come right out. Same thing on this. This one's a little harder to get to. Has the clip down there between the connector and the panel. You'll pull that out. The only other thing holding this in is the seat bolt. Alright, so now that we have our panel removed, the only thing left you have a bolt here, and you have another one that's on the opposite side. Then you have the ones in the back. There's one there. I'll walk around here, show you. You have the last bolt right here. So the two bolts in the front, they're going to be a 15mm socket you can use to get those out. They're kind of a weird shape, but a 15mm will get those out. Ones on the back, they're the same. You can use an 11mm socket to get those out. Once you have those bolts out, as long as you have your harness disconnected in the back, the connector for your airbag and to the main seat harness for the power motors, when you have that out, you can go ahead and just pull your whole seat out, and we'll look at how to get that motor out of there and get it replaced. All right, so we got the seat out. The next thing we're gonna do is get these bolts out. So I don't know if you guys can see it or not. I'll try and get a better angle. There's 4 bolts that are under the seat. Okay, if you're looking at the back of the chair, you can see that those bolts are under this piece of plastic right here. So you're gonna have to remove that to get to these last couple of bolts. Okay, so once we have our front bolts out, you can see the seat just lifts up like this. Now you can access those motors from the top. So now what you're going to want to do is disconnect all these little wires right here that are connected to this, so that the seat, you can see it's getting hung up on these wires. You want to be able to disconnect those so you can move the seat back freely. Okay, so now what I want to show you is these shafts that are connected to this motor. It seems like, looks like it wouldn't move, but what these are flex shafts. So I'm going to try and get this on video. What you can do is actually take these and they flex, so you can bend this and it just pops right out. And that's how you get those out of your motor, to disconnect it from its mounting brackets. Okay, so once you have both of your flex shafts removed, what you're going to want to do is you got to remove this plastic mounting bracket. The easiest way to do that is just get your flat head right below that. Push up, give it a little pressure. So now you have that loose. So now what you're going to do is just kind of slide it over a little bit to get this other flex shaft out on this side. And you're going to want to do the same in the back. Just kind of get a flat head back here. You're going to want to just kind of pry it off that shaft. You can see it just pops right out. Now you have your motor removed. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and get our new motor, put it in. Okay, so we have our motor out. Here's our new motor. I got it off Amazon. The time of this video is about $82. It's a lot more cost effective than buying the whole assembly. You can buy those on eBay, probably $250. Let's go ahead and unbox this. You can see this side by side. That's the same motor. A lot of people say these are a little more heavy duty. We'll get that tested before we put it in. So all you're going to want to do is just remove this flex shaft from here, and you're just going to put it in your new motor. And the next thing we're going to do is get this new motor mounted back in. One thing I did decide to do is take these flex shafts and go ahead and clean them up real good, put some new grease on them. So I've been sitting around up under that seat for quite a while, gathering up dirt, dust, and elements. So we're just gonna get those cleaned up really well before we put those back in. Okay, now that you got the motors back in and the flex shafts in, we're gonna go ahead and connect all your wiring back up. And then we'll go ahead and put the bolts back in. All right, now we got everything reassembled. It's time to get this seat back in the truck, get everything hooked up. So before we go ahead and get everything bolted down here, just temporarily hook this up. We're just gonna test it and make sure, you know, it functions, goes up and down, going down, back up again, forward, going backwards. So yeah, everything looks like it's functioning well now. We're gonna go ahead and get everything bolted back in, put back together. Okay, so we got our seat back in. We're able to go down, up, back, forward. Got a little bit of noise. I think it's probably the worm gears. They probably need to be replaced. Just wanted to show you guys though how to replace those motors. There's a lot of videos out there that show how to replace the whole assembly, but not any that I could find, at least, where you can actually just replace the motors. Like I said, they're $82 on Amazon. They seem to work really well. The ones that you find on eBay, the whole assembly is around $250 and up. So you could potentially save yourself quite a bit of money just by replacing those motors. But yeah, that's all it is. I believe that, I don't know if you guys can see it. So under the front of this seat, probably can't see it, there's a couple of bolts that hold the seat in. We took those out so we could lift the seat up. You could potentially probably just take those bolts out and lean the seat back so that you don't have to take the entire seat out. But taking the seat out, it wasn't really a longer step. It only took 10-15 minutes to actually get the seat out. And it does give you a little bit more space to work on things, especially the motors. When you're taking those out, that can be a bit cumbersome if you're doing it in the vehicle. But you know, if you're not really wanting to take the seat out, I believe you can just take those front bolts out to access those motors to replace them. That's really the only other thing that you could potentially change in this replacement. Just maybe save yourself a little bit of time. But yeah, that's it. Everything's back working again.